Al Jazeera banned from reporting inside Syria. So Nisreen El-Shamayleh has been following developments from Ramtha, which is on the Syrian-Jordanian border. And Nisreen, what's been the reaction from the protesters? Fairly predictable, I imagine, to President Assad's speech.
Well, Nick, they started taking to the streets on Sunday night across Syria in different provinces immediately after they heard this defiant speech from their president. We also understood that the protests continued on Monday, and we're hearing from activists who have been able to confirm to us that 3 people were killed and 9 people were injured in Homs in a protest there, where security forces on Monday and snipers opened fire at the protesters in the heart of the city in Homs on Freedom Square. And as a result, as I mentioned, 3 people were killed. One of them is actually a baby. Now, this all happened after the United Nations humanitarian mission, which is currently in Syria, visited the governorate and the city of Homs. There were massive and serious cleanup operations to erase the evidence of the crackdowns across Syria, specifically in Homs, Hama, and Rif Dimashq governorates, which the United Nations humanitarian mission is visiting today. The attack on protesters on Monday took place after the United Nations humanitarian mission left Homs, and we understood also from protesters that there is still a military presence there, even though some of the roadblocks have been removed in these governorates, but soldiers are still there, but dressed in civilian clothing. We also heard that arrests are ongoing in Homs, in Dar'a, which is not too far away from where I'm standing, and that 20 people were arrested in Jabal al-Zawiya in Idlib.
Nisreen, this humanitarian mission that's in Syria right now, distinct from the human rights meeting that's going on in Geneva, where they're looking, or some members are looking to pass a resolution. Is what's happening there likely to have any impact on the ground within Syria?
Well, nobody knows yet, especially that we've heard the defiant comments from Bashar al-Assad, who has basically threatened that if any action is taken against Syria, there will be a very strong and violent backlash. It will backfire. We understand, however, that the pressure from Arab countries is increasing. They are members of the United Nations Human Rights Council, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait, who are pressing and demanding that Syria open its borders for an international probe to find out whether indeed crimes against humanity were committed inside Syria. The Council is also likely to consider a draft resolution that implores the attacks on protesters. What's interesting here is that the consensus in the international community that al-Assad has to go is indeed growing, and there's also mounting pressure on the United Nations to push the Security Council to make the Security Council refer the Syrian government to the International Criminal Court, because that is indeed a move that the United Nations Human Rights Council isn't authorized to do without the approval of the Security Council. So there's definitely an interesting increase in pressure coming from neighbouring Arab countries.
All right, there's Nisreen El-Shamayleh reporting from the Jordanian side of the border with Syria. Thanks very much indeed, Nisreen.